The story begins with a young boy talking with a girl about how he is a slow runner and never got better at it. Ever since in school he would always come last and was bullied for it a lot. They used to harass him and run away as he could never catch them. But he kept chasing after them and eventually caught them and beat the crap out of them. The girl then asked him how he was able to catch them, and the boy said that he never gave up. Just then we can see that the girl is gravely injured and is nearing her death. The boy says that he won't give up this time either and will not get caught by the assassins. While he was saying this, the girl just died on his shoulder. The assassins were searching for them, so our boy ran from there. On the other side we can see our boy's past life where he had cancer and thought that he could finally die and rest. But he dies and gets reborn into Baek clan, one of the 7 great clan who was established by the legendary martial artist, the divine immortal blade. But there was one problem, that the body he was reborn into had a condition called QI blockage, a condition where one cannot collect internal energy and dies within the age of 20. This was unacceptable flaw as a direct bloodline, so he left the family and lived far away waiting for his death. It was peaceful until those assassins pushed him to the brink of death. As he was running away, he found an old rusty sword on the ground. He tried pulling it out when the assassins caught up to him. He asked them if they were after his life, and they replied that they had to bring his head to the Lord. Our boy picks up the sword and prepares to fight them, but he had never held a sword before. Just then he heard a voice telling him that it was not how a sword is held. He turned around and saw an old man's figure who was scolding him for being too weak. As he was talking with the figure, the assassins thought that he had gone crazy as they were not able to see the old man. The assassin was strong as he used sword QI. The old man, who was the ghost of the divine immortal blade, took over the boy's body. The old man charged at the assassin and used heaven and earth blade technique 7th form. The last 3 forms of heaven and earth blade technique were lost, so 6th was the max form, but he performed 7th form. As the fight was over, the boy was gonna die as his body couldn't handle all of that. The ghost said that he could have been saved if he had taken miracle medicines like pure milk of heaven and earth or the millennium snow ginseng. The boy just remembered something and asked if the one he ate last year worked. He then passes out. He wakes up at the hospital where his younger brother is shown. His name is Baek Hajuan and our boy's name is Baek Igang. As Igang woke up, he headed straight to the Red Dragon Hall where the patriarch was waiting for him. The patriarch also took his sword which he had found earlier. As he entered the hall, he was amused to see the ghost floating behind the patriarch. 200 years ago, after the death of the divine immortal blade, number of Baek family members started declining and the family was headed for a downfall. But due to the rise of new patriarch Baek Ryuzan, the family rose to success. Due to his supreme martial arts, he was given a nickname, Merciless Ironblood. He was Igang's father. Igang was in front of all the higher-ups of his family and he was asked whether he knew who the assassins were. Igang answered that they were not the demonic alliance and were hiding their martial arts. He said that if they were foolish enough to draw their sword against the Baek clan, they would not have come after him as he was not even the young leader. His younger brother, who was more capable than him, was the young leader. The patriarch asks wasn't he ashamed as everyone other than him was dead and he was the only one alive. Igang says that he was happy as he was alive and he needs to be alive in order to avenge the dead. The patriarch calls him up towards him and asks how he defeated those assassins as the marks on their body were clearly that of the heaven and earth blade technique. Igang is troubled as what he should say. He can't just say that he defeated them as he can't even use QI, and he can't say that a ghost helped him as Noon would believe him. He said that at the end of the secret storage passage, he found a strange space marked with a line, and the moment he set foot in it, his mind felt strange and his body moved by its own to fight the assassins. The patriarch says that it was a very strange phenomena and aggressively grabbed his arm to check his QI, but it was the same as ever, so he let Igang go. Igang asks for his sword as he leaves that place. Igang asked the ghost if that sword was that important as it was just old and rusty. He states that the sword was made from meteorite and his favorite sword, meteor. Egang says that meteor was stored in the court of elders, but the ghost states that it was probably fake. The ghost asks how a father can be so cruel to his child and was cold as a serpent. But Egang says that he is not that heartless and that his father was the one who provided him with those rare medicinal herbs. Egang then continues on that he feels like a weight has been lifted off his shoulder. The ghost assumes that the patriarch earlier grabbed his arm to heal his internal injuries and jokingly says that he is like a father who is too embarrassed to express his love. On the other side, the patriarch is talking with his assistant that if he had been too harsh on him and had seen him after a long time, he assumes that Egang's martial powers might have been awakening. The scene changes and we can see Egang training with the ghost. Now let's refer the ghost as his master. The master asks Egang how to use core energy when there is a disconnect between QI and blood. He continues that it was simpler than he thinks. Just die. Egang was shocked by his answer. But the master said that he would use a different method. He asks Egang what QI blockage is. Egang answers that it was a condition where the veins where QI flows is disconnected. Wrong. Master says that all living beings have QI flowing through them, and if QI wouldn't flow through your body, you would already be dead. He says that there was no such veins where QI flows. He keeps blabbering on and on about those things, but Egang could not understand anything he said, so he requested him to summarize all of those. The master summarized it for him and said hard work, if he worked hard he might connect those QI with the power of will. The master asks Ajams that he hadn't learned Fire Sun Mind technique, so he asks if he has trained his Taiyin Meridian. Egang states that he has always trained that to take care of himself. The Baek clan's generational secret, Immortal Divine Arts, is made up of the Fire Sun Mind technique and the Taiyin Meridian. The Fire Sun Mind technique allows one to quickly and strongly gather internal energy, whereas the Taiyin Meridian is for clearing the mind. He also states that most train with Fire Sun Mind technique as the foundation. Egang adds that most finish Taiyin Meridian at the age of 7 and start focusing on the Fire Sun Mind technique. The master says that it is because the Taiyin Meridian was incomplete and that he completed it in his last years, so it would be helpful for him. And so Egang becomes optimistic that it might actually be possible to learn martial arts with this body and requests master to teach him. They start their training and master says the main purpose of Taiyin Meridian is to manifest his will into reality and that he will understand that once he is able to touch master's soul. The master states that he is quick to learn and that he was starting to like him. However, he assumes that the realm he wants to reach is impossible to attain unless he dies once, gets revived and infinitely overcomes failure. While practicing, Egang remembers the last moments of his previous life, fall into selflessness and forget about the body rots and becomes dirt, while the bones turn into ashes, what remains is your will. He applied those moments into his fist and strikes a punch which hit the master's soul.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more amazing contents.